it doesn't have to be a standalone thing where you get $15,000 for the testimonial or 10,000, however long they want to use it for. You could couple that with other things like, hey, let's do a webinar to talk about your probiotic and teach other healthcare professionals about its benefits and how their patients can benefit from using it. And then you can couple it with, let's do some social media posts to promote that webinar. Hi there, and welcome to episode 9 of the Master the Media podcast. I'm your host, Amy Gorin, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Before we dive in, I just want to quickly share that in today's episode, we are going to be talking about testimonials and when and why and how much you should get paid for them. So we're going to be talking about pricing. So I wanted to share our free pricing guide, which has a whole bunch more things that you can do for a brand in addition to testimonials and the recommended pricing for those. So you can grab your free pricing guide at masterthemedia.co/pricing-guide. The link will be in the show notes. So we're going to talk about testimonials today, and this is something I get a lot of questions about. First of all, a lot of brands will come to dietitians and other healthcare experts that we work with in Master the Media and ask them to give free testimonials that they can feature on their website or on their Instagram or other social media. And this is something that almost always you should get paid for. First of all, what is a testimonial? It's literally like if I went and said, I love this specific brand of dairy-free yogurt because it's made with almond milk and it has a good amount of protein in it to keep me fuller for longer, which is significant compared to a lot of the other dairy-free yogurts out there. And this is what I recommend to my patients as a plant-based registered dietitian. And the brand could take that and they could feature that, in video form where I'm talking about that. They could take my quote and use that in a standalone social media post. They could take my quote or my video and feature that on their website. And oftentimes today, what a lot of brands are doing are using testimonials and advertising. So what they might do, it's something called whitelisting. They could take, 30 to 60-second clip of me talking about their product, and they could use that to market to my audience on Instagram. So they're like, Amy's a plant-based dietitian. Those are the exact people we want to share about why she loves this plant-based yogurt. And so they're not only using my testimonial and what's called my name and likeness. So my name, Amy Gorin, my likeness, which is my image, my credentials, and also my biography. So, the fact that I'm a plant-based registered dietitian nutritionist, I have been practicing for a decade, and I have also been featured in the media in thousands of articles that have a media reach combined of over 3 billion. So they could take all of that and leverage that as part of the bio that they're sharing about me. And so that's what, makes these testimonials impressive. It's not the fact that I have millions of followers on Instagram, because I don't. It's literally my credentials, my experience, my expertise, and then me giving the endorsement. And so brands really like to use testimonials because a testimonial from me as a registered dietitian, or, say you're a physician or a registered nurse or a health coach, and you're sharing your experience about a product and why you like it, that carries a lot more weight as, coming from you, somebody with healthcare credentials who sees patients, versus coming from the brand itself. So if, let's just use the yogurt example again. If the yogurt company said, like, their internal marketing person was like, yeah, I love this product. I eat it every day. If they wanted to use that as advertising, it wouldn't really do very much, because consumers would be like, well, yeah, you have a full-time job at this company. Of course you like it, or you're getting paid to like it. I don't know if I believe you or not. I don't really care. And then it's kind of like, why are you sharing this? Like, you might have a background in marketing, but you don't have healthcare credentials. So the fact that it's coming from a third-party expert just makes it so much more validating. There's also, when it comes to the world of supplements, so this is a whole area where, say we're talking about a multivitamin. And you want to be able to say, like, this multivitamin has 100% of your daily value of vitamin C, which has been proven to help help your immune system by doing X, Y, and Z. So say that's what the brand wants to communicate. Well, supplements in particular are really, really tricky because they're overseen by the FDA, and a lot where they do validate like everything that they say to make sure they can say it by their internal scientific team. If you look closely on, say, a blog post that's on my website that's sponsored by a supplement company, you'll see a little asterisk that says, these statements where it'll say something like, this statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, and this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And the reason that these companies have these disclaimers is because they have to be very careful about what they say. Obviously, they don't want to get sued, but that means that their internal team really, really can't say very much. The degree to which this, I know I'm going on a tangent, but like the degree to which this impacts what you can say as a healthcare professional depends a bit on each brand. So one of the supplement companies I've worked with, for instance, they hired me because I had a lot of personal experience with one of their products, which was a women's health product. It was a probiotic specifically for vaginal health. And so I had a lot of lived experiences to share about this product, that I started taking it because I was getting recurrent UTIs and yeast infections, and I discovered this product and I started taking it, and that significantly increased my quality of life and decreased the number of infections I got. But we had to really go back and forth and figure out exactly what I could say to get that point across, because they're like, well, that's not within our scientifically valid data to be able to say this. But they also hired me because I could say it, and I had that experience, and their internal team couldn't say it. So all this to say is, depending on the type of company you're giving the testimonial for, you're going to be able to make different types of statements about the product itself. And regardless of what you're able to say or not say about the product, your testimonial is worth a lot of money. So let's talk about what that means. So it's your picture, right, going up on either a brand's website or a brand's social media, and you're endorsing a product. It could either be a small company or a big company. That endorsement alone, because remember, you're putting your name behind this product, you're not endorsing competitor products because you're endorsing this product. So there's an implied, I'm going to work with this brand, but not these other brands. And these testimonials are worth at least $1,000 a month just for your name and likeness. And I hope I'm blowing your mind right now, honestly, because when you create a testimonial for a brand, that original testimonial is worth $5,000. And that usually includes 2 or 3 months of use of name and likeness. And then say the brand wants to keep your testimonial on their website for the rest of the year, and they want to be able to share your testimonial on their social media for the rest of the year. So then all of a sudden you have not just $5,000, right? You have those additional 10 months of them using your testimonial. So we're talking $15,000 for your testimonial for usage of it for the whole entire year. That took you probably, a lot of times healthcare professionals come to me and they're like, but this thing took me 20 minutes. Like, how can I get paid $15,000 for it? And the reality is, it's not that you spent 20 minutes or 30 minutes writing a quote or filming a video. It's the fact that you are putting your expertise and credentials behind this product. It's your, years of lived experience working clinically that you're putting behind this product. And that's why you can charge so much. And again, whether the brand's paying you for something called exclusivity or not, which is when you're not working with competitors, if a brand is featuring your testimonial front and center on their website, it just wouldn't be kosher to work with a competitor brand. Like if I was working with, say, Impossible Foods and endorsing their plant-based sausages and burgers, I wouldn't also, and say I had a testimonial on their website, I wouldn't also go and give Beyond Meat a testimonial because those are competitor products. And That's just not seen as a professional thing to do. So all that to say, testimonials are one of my favorite things to encourage other healthcare professionals to pitch to brands and get paid for. Because you can, it doesn't have to be a standalone thing where you get $15,000 for the testimonial or 10,000, however long they want to use it for. You could couple that with other things like, hey, let's do a webinar to talk about your probiotic and teach other healthcare professionals about its benefits and how their patients can benefit from using it. And then you can couple it with, let's do some social media posts to promote that webinar. And, let's send an e-blast to my newsletter list to get people to attend the webinar. And then all of a sudden you have this really robust package where maybe you're earning, $30,000 for those deliverables combined. So now I also want to touch on when you wouldn't get paid for a testimonial. And the instances where you wouldn't get paid are they're not as common as the instances where you would get paid. So the instances where you would get paid, it's that brand that wants to feature you, really any company that manufactures something and sells a product, and many services too. So it could be an app where, you're featured as being front and center, as the expert who's endorsing the app. Or it could be like a fitness product. Now, the instances where you wouldn't get paid are for services like if someone gave a testimonial for a coaching program. So like if one of my students gave a testimonial for Master the Media, or say Marie Forleo or Amy Porterfield students, like they have lots of testimonials featured on their websites. Now, those testimonials are not paid. And there's a few reasons why. The biggest reason is you have to disclose when a testimonial is paid. And so these coaching programs, and it could be, there's a lot of B2B coaching programs that teach, business how-tos. Obviously, Master the Media teaches you how to get featured in the media and land paid partnerships, but maybe it's also, a coaching program where it's, how to strengthen your marriage. Whatever it is, if I was to go onto the testimonial page of one of those websites and read through the testimonials, and then I saw a little asterisk that said these are paid testimonials, which you have to disclose if they're paid. There are federal laws that mandate that. Then as a potential consumer, I'd be like, I don't trust these. I'm not going to enroll in this program. I can't imagine that it works. And so these, I'm using Amy Porterfield and Marie Forleo as examples because they're, multi-millionaires, have had really, really successful programs. They have a lot of testimonials. And again, those testimonials are not paid because who would believe that the program works if they were paid? So that's one reason. The other reason, that I would say that's the main reason. The other reason is, a lot of programs, and I'll just give the example of Master the Media. We use our testimonials as, we can't pay directly because, like I said, that's not ethical. But we do have an affiliate program where our students and graduates can refer somebody to join Master the Media and they get a commission. And so what we can do, if people, if potential students, clients, check out our testimonial page and they're like, oh, I want to talk to Sally or I want to talk to Kimberly, then they can either find them on Instagram and reach out to them. And then all of a sudden, if they enroll, Kimberly gets a commission. But they wouldn't ever find that person if it weren't for their testimonial being on our website. So basically, when we're thinking about testimonials, those are basically the two big buckets of you would always get paid. You should always get paid for giving a testimonial for a brand. There are going to be brands who are like, oh, we're just going to feature you because it's great for your business and we don't have a budget to do that. I would always turn those down because there's always going to be another product, probably even a competitor, who is interested in your services. And if you're giving the testimonial for the product for free, the other competitors out there, whether they want to hire you for a testimonial or even creating recipes for their website, they're going to think that you're tied up with that brand and that you're not available. So you never want to give that perception of having a paid relationship with a brand when you don't. So those are always, always tell the brand, this is a service I do charge for because my endorsement is high value. And then when it comes to service-based programs, particularly coaching programs, those are the times when you wouldn't charge. And I know it's kind of confusing because a lot of our students will say, well, you tell us to charge for a brand, but you're telling us, if we give a testimonial here, it wouldn't be a charge. But that just is how kind of these industries work. And if you dig into any brand's website or any coaching program's website, it's really interesting. You will see the examples that we talked about of paid testimonials, unpaid testimonials. So anyway, I hope you found this episode interesting. Hopefully your mind got blown a little bit by what you could get paid for giving a testimonial. And I hope you'll grab our free pricing guide to see what you can get paid for other services at masterthemedia.co/pricing-guide.